Hello everyone, my name is Ralph Figueroa and this is Veterans Helping Veterans TV. Our mission here at VHVtv is to inform, educate, and motivate veterans. We present persons of interest in the veteran community and groups that work on behalf of veterans. And today we have two very important guests. We have Greg Sanchez and Bo, I can't pronounce your last name, but he's gonna get into it. So we have a great episode for you guys. And don't forget to tune in to VHVtv.org and you can find all our links to our social media. So our first guest is Greg Sanchez. Greg with the United States Navy. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, it's really great to be here with you all today, Ralph. Thanks so much to VHVtv for inviting myself and Daodu on board today for this conversation.
So now that you graduated, Greg, what do you plan to do professionally with your degree?
Well, that's a great question. I'm happy you asked. I applied for a graduate school at University of Chicago, and I was recently accepted into the Harris School of Public Policy at University of Chicago.
Awesome.
There I'll be working with the Veterans Restorative Justice Project. It's a partnership between the University of Chicago and all the professional schools, the law school, the public policy school, the social work school, the social sciences school, the business school, to help veterans that are impacted by the justice system who are going through Veterans Treatment Court in the greater Chicago area. So they work very closely with the court system over there. And in that role, I'll be a Veterans Treatment Court mentor during the day, and I'll be going to grad school in the evening, earning my master's degree in public policy.
That is absolutely amazing. Well, thank you for being here with us, Greg. And
my name is Greg Sanchez. I'm a United States Navy veteran. I enlisted shortly after the 9/11 attacks on the World Trade Center and throughout other areas of the United States. I went to Navy boot camp in January of 2002.
Okay, so let's fast forward to 2021. Mm-hmm. You're now at UC Riverside, am I correct?
Yes, I transferred into UC Riverside during the height of the pandemic in January 2021. We were all online. It was a bit of a struggle, but I had already experienced a little bit of online platform of learning from community college. But just my method, my approach was the same at UC Riverside. I got here, humbled myself, asked a lot of questions, went to the office hours with the professors, did whatever I could to make sure that I was going to be as successful as possible here at UCR.
Right. And so did you get involved here at the Veteran Resource Center on campus?
I did get involved here at the Veteran Resource Center, essentially just coming around. The culture that is developing here and has been developed here for some time has been phenomenal. They have this wonderful new Veterans Resource Center that just recently opened last year, and private rooms for study, group rooms for group discussions, computer rooms, and then it's a phenomenal place because our Veterans Affairs school certifying officials, they are also in-house. So it's literally a one-stop shop.
Yep.
And so yeah, that's how I got essentially affiliated with the Veterans Resource Center. Very welcoming. Tammy Thacker is doing a phenomenal job leading the show here, and I just couldn't be more happy to be a part of it.
So what was your major?
Yeah, so my major was history. I just recently graduated in December.
Congratulations.
Appreciate that. Thank you. With honors and distinction. Shout out to the
of
history
course,
department.
Of course.
It's because the history department is so supportive of me. Really, they played a big part of my success. But yeah, so it was a history major, U.S. history to be specific, and even more specific, public history. So in a social historical construct where I analyze and interrogate the intersections of American society.
So tell me about the UC Riverside Chancellor's Research Fellow.
Yeah, the Chancellor's Research Fellowship. Again, my first day on campus virtually, I essentially went to the office hours of my very first class. It was Colonial America with Dr. Alejandra Dubkovsky, a phenomenal professor here at UC Riverside. And I asked her, what can I do to ensure that I'm getting the most out of my experience at UC Riverside? It's a research institution, and I want to get involved with doing that. How? And essentially, she brought forth a lot of opportunities, and the Chancellor's Research Fellowship was one. I was one of 10 undergraduate students to be selected. Wow. In a highly selective screening process, and I'm very grateful for it. It paid a nice little sum of money to do academic research, and I essentially looked at the Inland Empire, in particular South Colton in the mid-20th century, and examined a segregated area of Mexican Americans.
So are you from the Inland Empire?
Born and raised, yes. I've lived all over the Inland Empire. I was born in Fontana, lived in Ontario for a period of time, Yucaipa, Riverside, and now I live in Hemet.
So our second guest, and I'm going to attempt your name, Boluwatife Daodu.
That's really good. A lot of people don't get it right like that. That's
I try to do my homework, so but everybody calls you
Bo.
Bo.
Yeah.
Bo, thank you for being here.
So backtrack a little bit. Originally, I came into U.S. 2012 from Nigeria, and it was a very, very big transition for me, coming with my mom and my sister, coming for the first time here. And honestly, I couldn't give more gratitude to my mom for me bringing in the first place. But that's really literally being the first thing that's marked to where I am right now. So I enlisted in the Navy 2012, did a year of boot camp, and my goal was to do at least a couple different years going on. But God has a different plan for different people. And with the way that happened is both my kidneys shut down. I was in dialysis. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't use the restroom. I couldn't walk, and that almost really broke my spirit, mentally, spiritually, physically. But I'm able to go past it, escape through it, with the help of the people around me, my family. Tammy, she's been a great help also, and me leaving the Navy and coming here now, that has really shaped me to look at life a lot differently.
Absolutely.
And I know everyone comes from different struggles and different circumstances, but I honestly would not trade me going through what I did in the Navy, because that really strengthened my spirit, my courage, and everything.
It made you who you are today.
Basically, yeah.
Right. Well, that's awesome, Bo. So now tell me about your UC Riverside experience. How long have you been here? What's your major? We want to hear about you.
Prior to me going to the Navy, I was a freshman in the college year. And after my freshman year, during summer, I decided, okay, I want to join the Navy. But I had to figure out why. Like, why do I want to join the Navy? And for me, because I've been a freshman, I didn't have anything going on. And me joining in, I saw it as a way to provide better job opportunities for me, as well as benefits. And that really got my attention. And I was able to talk to some recruiters, got in, got out, and it's crazy how 1 year I'm able to basically skip sophomore year while I'm in the Navy, but now I'm technically a sophomore also. So my goal is to continue in 2 years to get my bachelor's, and then get my master's, my MBA program, and then get my PhD in economics as a business econ major.
All right, Bo. So you're a business econ major, right?
Yeah.
So what kind of professions would you be able to get into that with?
So what attracted me to my major is because the economy. But in 12th grade in high school, I took an econ class, and that class really intrigued me, fascinated me how the economy works in general.
Yeah.
And so I got here, decided I want to go into a business economics major, and my goal in the long term is to get into the field of research to see how I can improve the economy in general. And with the way the economy is moving right now, is moving to more of a business standpoint. You see a younger generation right now starting a lot of small businesses right now,
right.
And that plays a long-term factor in how the economy works in general. And for me, majoring in that, I'm also working on an undergraduate research course right now in UCR, where I'm developing an air filter program, where it's to eliminate the particles indoors and try to generate clean air, which when COVID started, nobody was prepared for that.
Right.
And this filter that I was fortunate enough able to take this research in is to modify it where you put it in a room and it filters out any particles in there. So basically, you can come in there and you could be at least less worried that you could get infected by any virus or any Omicron virus. So that's something I'm working on right now as an undergraduate scholar, possibly trying to turn that into where I can have that available to multiple households, where classrooms need that for sure. Kids have to be safe.
Absolutely.
Indoors, anywhere indoors that you come in here, you want to feel free that you gotta breathe. But that's just one part of what I'm doing right now. That's something that I look into, having an entrepreneur mindset while also helping the economy in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. I mean, you actively participating here at the Veteran Resource Center at UC Riverside?
Yeah. So right now, Tammy's been a great help. I work with a veteran-owned real estate company. Not everybody in general, but we also help assist veterans attain homeownership. And Tammy was very, very helpful in referenced me to one of the top veteran-owned brokers in Riverside. And basically,
You want to give them a quick shout out?
yeah, EGA Homes.
EGA Homes, that's a good
founder.
friend of mine.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Ruben Hernandez.
Ruben.
He's been a big mentor. He's been a big help for me, and I've basically been doing that ever since my sophomore year, and I've been trying to help people, mostly veterans, but anybody in general, attain homeownership, educate them about the best way, especially with different market interest rates going on right now. It's unpredictable. But yeah, that's just been it. So and honestly, me coming back from the Navy, I feel like that just opened my mind up to, okay, I have to do this and do this. So I feel like that's made me more appreciate every day as it comes.
Absolutely.
So I feel me taking more responsibility than I would if I hadn't joined, and that's something that I'm grateful for.
Created a whole different mindset for you,
Yeah.
which is great. That's one of the perks of being in the military is we have organizational skills that become very imperative. So I want to quickly ask you, Bo. So there's the SVA, and for our viewers that aren't fully aware of what the SVA is, Greg, what is SVA?
Well, SVA stands for Student Veterans of America. It's a nonprofit organization, 501c3. It's a national organization, but also in various other countries, and it's also in Puerto Rico as well. What it does is it supports student veterans in different capacities, but also the veteran community at large.
Yes.
With advocacy work at the national level in DC. It's often that our CEO and president has a seat at all the big conversations that happen between the VFW, the American Legion, the Disabled Veterans of America, and so forth. So our presence is large. It's getting larger. There are currently over 750,000 student veterans in the United States and across the world, and also 1,500 chapters of Student Veterans of America organizations on campuses. So UC Riverside is one of those campuses.
That's awesome. So, Bo, this is what I want to know. SVA, they have a Leadership Institute program, and both of you were a part of this. But, Bo, I want to hear your experience. What was that like to be part of that experience?
It was absolutely magnificent. And the crazy thing is that I almost wasn't able to go because I found out last minute, and this going to the SVA really opened my mind up to live different skills and attributes that makes you a leader in general. So I don't know, with Greg, we were able to go into cohort groups where you kind of talk about your 5 core mindset that makes you a leader, and those are the things we kind of targeted on that I kind of still reflect back to this day. And for example, like for me, I'll say, okay, one of my 5 was leadership, was confidence, was one of it was also integrity, mental toughness, and the last one was in terms of me basically being kind to people in general. And those are core attributes that affect that makes you become a good leader also. And they also kind of touch back on what's your why. And what's your why is basically, so why are you doing this? Why are you trying to help whatever you're trying to do? Right. And a lot of people that look up to you look at that, and you become a big influence to them. So that's something that's like, it's been magnificent, and especially connecting with different people in SVA from different veteran organizations around the United States. It's been crazy, and I still have the contacts that I still reach out to this day, and that would have been possible without SVA.
Right.
So, and I would really recommend for any veterans to apply there, because it's gonna change. It's gonna change.
You hear that? So you guys need to get into SVA, become a part of this, because the networking opportunities must be phenomenal for you guys, right?
Yeah.
Get to meet different people. So, Greg, what was your take on the SVA Leadership Institute?
So the Leadership Institute took about, for this cohort, the big cohort, took about 115 student veterans from across the country. We applied online, and we had to upload a 2-minute video to LinkedIn, to which they screened all the applicants and made a selection of approximately 115 or so finalists. It was all expenses paid. So our plane ticket, our lodging at the Capitol Hilton, which was a phenomenally beautiful hotel.
And where was this located
This
at?
was in Washington, D.C.
Washington, D.C.
Literally steps from the White House.
Wow, that is absolutely amazing. So what were some big takeaways for you from that?
Well, hands down is the leadership development that went on at that institute was phenomenal, as Bo said. We had a Dave Bratt, which is a leadership and organizational development, essentially executive that formerly with Walt Disney now works with a different corporation, and I think the name is Salesforce. But what this individual does, he goes to organizations throughout the world, and he helps some of the highest performing, quickest thinkers in leadership positions to become better leaders. Often in large corporations and in institutions, even here in a place like UC Riverside, the higher up the totem pole you get, you have high functioning thinkers that are tremendous at what they do. But sometimes when they get together in groups, you have personalities that clash. So what he does, he takes and goes into these organizations and these corporations and helps them to become better and more effective teams, is what it is. And so Student Veterans America brought him in, and literally at no expense to us as student veterans, put us to the identical training that he put some of the highest paid, most highest on the totem pole, so to speak, CEOs in the world. And so we got this top tier education. And so, and then we were broken out into smaller cohorts where we worked on personal development, as Bo said. We worked on our why, which is very important. Often, we go through college and we're trying to figure out, like, okay, we're going to earn a degree and the like, and, hopefully go into the professional sphere. But often it's like, well, what are we trying to do? What is the end here, right? Because our jobs are supposed to be fulfilling to ourselves and also fulfilling for our bank accounts, Them working in unison with each other for us to be happy and healthy individuals. And what was great about this is this Student Veterans America, and the Leadership Institute is tailored more towards the enlisted veteran. Mm-hmm. Often, the officers in the military, they go to some sort of high performing college, like the Naval Academy, right, or West Point or something, and that's top tier education. They're going to be okay, but the enlisted individual offers something very unique. And they just need the proper grooming, the education, and the peer mentorship and support to become some of the most, effective leaders across the United States. And so with the Leadership Institute, that was a great 4-day opportunity. They fed us, they housed us in Capitol Hilton again. And what was really, really amazing is while we were there on our first day, the Secretary of Veterans Affairs, the Honorable Dennis McDonough, he came and addressed us personally. It was real intimate. It was, no holds barred, and he asserted, his desire for us to just be real with him. And we asked him any questions that we wanted. But then I believe it was day 3. Was it day 3 when we got the go ahead? Where we were invited into the White House, just as student veterans.
So Bo, earlier you shared with me there was an experience. You had this full circle experience of seeing the White House from outside the gates to seeing the White House from inside. Yeah. How was that feeling for you?
I remember I had this field trip when I was fourth grade, and I was able to go with a group of my friends, and we went outside to the White House. We were able to go to the White House, but not inside. We were able to look outside, and at that time, I was young. I was like, wow, I'm at the White House. Like, it's crazy. But me going now into the SVA opened me where we actually were able to go inside and actually experience being inside the White House. And I had a moment to reflect when I was there. I was like, wow, I've really come all this way. And that's just to show what the me going to the Navy has opened for me. This has opened a lot of opportunities for me to experience going into being part of SVA, going to the White House, and that's something that I still look to this day that I would never forget. But it's been a blessing, and it's been something that I would always look back and reflect on. That's a positive moment in my life.
Greg, how do you?
Well, I mean, just to kind of build off of what Bo said, is the same sort of reflection. I'm sitting there inside of the White House, and I'm thinking to myself, 4 years ago, I was in an orange jumpsuit in front of a judge. Look how far I've come. And education has been an astronomical part of my healing process. Student Veterans of America, the Veterans Resource Center here at UC Riverside. It's all come full circle. But go from the bottom to the White House, I'm almost at a loss for words, and we're still going.
And you're still going. And that's just one of the stepping stones for the both of you. Let's do, mention a couple people that were very instrumental for this, aside from, Tammy and Angelise, I believe. But there were some congressmen that are also involved as far as getting you guys to this program. So first we have Congressman Takano, and then we have Congressman Levin. So give me a little, a little something on what their role was and how crucial they were for all of you guys to have this memorable experience.
The Leadership Institute didn't involve the Congress people. That was actually something that we took it upon ourselves, and why it's so important for the individual student veteran to get aggressive about being a part of Student Veterans of America. That was something, an isolated occurrence to which we were selected to attend. Shortly thereafter, the Leadership Institute, it was in December timeframe, Tammy had gotten word that the Congressman Takano and Congressman Levin were looking for a couple of student veterans to fly to DC to sit down at a round table with some of the biggest leaders in the veterans community. This was to discuss the Reservists and National Guard Parity Act, which seeks to uplift our reservists and our National Guard members so that they may receive the same sort of education benefits that somebody who's been enlisted receives. And so UC Riverside was gracious enough to fly myself and one of our members of the National Guard that's also a student here at UC Riverside, Angelise, and we went to DC for, I believe it was 3 or 4 days, where we sat down on that that roundtable discussion, and we laid out the groundwork and essentially gave a little bit of personal testimony as far as why it is important to in an ever shifting U.S. society where we're calling on our National Guard members and our reservists ever more, given it being climate change or social unrest,
right.
That they are should be acknowledged for putting on the uniform, and they deserve every bit of the education benefits that us as enlisted individuals receive. And while we were there, we had the opportunity to speak with other people, political staffers and otherwise, in regards to veterans related issues. Like we met with Nick Pamperin, who is the executive person in charge of Chapter 31 VRNE. We had a really close, intimate conversation, regarding our veterans benefits and such in the Chapter 31 program. We also met with, the staffers from one of the senators out of Hawaii, who had some questions about, what makes UC Riverside such an effective Veterans Resource Center, because the University of Hawaii is looking to, improve their Veterans Resource Center. So all in all, it was just a great few days of walking around DC, talking with various people in Congress and the staff.
So you guys get these wonderful networking opportunities through these programs. And let's now move to SVA NatCon 2023. So that just happened, and happened in Orlando, Florida, just earlier this year. Greg, you were nominated for Student Veteran of the Year. First of all, congratulations on that, which is an amazing accomplishment in and of itself. What was that whole experience being there at the SVA NatCon? Tell us what you experienced. What because we want to tell all our viewers and say this is why we want to get into these programs. We're using you guys to exemplify the wanting to be into leadership, because we get these are some of the perks, but it's not like something that just gets handed to everybody. Out of how many people did they go through to just get to the down to the 10 finalists?
Well, that number I'm unsure, but I mean, I from what I hear, there was over 100 and some odd nominees, and then from there they narrow it down to the final 10. So there's 10 around the world, wherever there's a SVA chapter that is eligible to nominate a Student Veteran of the Year. So they narrow it down to 10, and so I'm still to this day unsure. Well, I think I know of one person that nominated me, but I think there was more. But the selection process is essentially they let you know that you have made it to a certain part of the procedure of narrowing things down. There's a questionnaire that I have to answer, and then an interview, and at which point they make their final selection for the final.
So you're in Orlando. You're getting to experience the whole SVA National Conference. What did you learn? What did you gain from that?
Yeah, so the national conference is phenomenal. I mean, there's regional conferences throughout the year that are in different areas of the U.S., but the national conference is the big show. That one is where there's hundreds of businesses and you know, vendors that come out that are quite literally looking to hire veterans in all the industries that you can imagine. But then there's also breakout rooms on a wide variety of topics, and there's breakout rooms all day long and each day of the event. And these are places where you sit in community with people who have everything to discuss regarding you know, diversity, equity, inclusion, to policy in Washington, D.C. There's political staffers that are in these rooms. There are some of the most, you know, highly respected and praised people in the veterans industry that are in these spaces. And this is a networking explosion of great contacts. You know, while I was there, we had keynote speakers. Again, the Department of Veterans Affairs Secretary Dennis McDonough gave a keynote speech. And then also the Department of Education, Miguel Cardona, he was there as well. So these are presidential appointed individuals that are giving conversations. And I myself, as being a nominee for a finalist for Student Veteran of the Year, I was invited to a private roundtable with the Secretary of Education. And unfortunately, the Secretary of the VA wasn't able to make it in person. He did everything digital or via Zoom. But nevertheless, it was real intimate. It was at the Walt Disney Resort. Next year it's going to be at Nashville, Tennessee. And you know, words can't really describe the impact that these sort of events can have. Right. Quite literally life-changing for many student veterans.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you go to a place like this and you might walk out of I literally talked with people who walked out of there with jobs. And they had yet to graduate from college, but they were basically hired on board Raytheon, Disney, Boeing.
Bo, what's your future? What's next for you? You still got you're a sophomore right now.
Yeah, plan for right now is to graduate. You know, after that, that's my goal. So to get my MBA, then after that, do my PhD program, which takes about a couple years. But long term, it's just to get into that role of research, where I can research about economy in general, and also looking to start my own side business to get my master's MBA program. I'm looking at a couple schools right now. I have University of Chicago in mind. Great help to Greg. He's been a great help. He's the one who referenced me to University of Chicago. And I'm also looking to UCLA too. That's the MBA program. And also looking to start my own side business too while on my journey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Greg, what's going on for you in the next few months, next couple of years? What's going on with you?
Well, next stop is University of Chicago. I'm going to be earning my master's in public policy, at which point I'm sort of going to kind of let opportunities sort of organically follow me or find me. I've had a couple of people reach out to me with interest in working with me in the future, particularly after I get my degree. Legislative policy, you know, yeah. I feel that I hit a lot of identities, a lot of markers to which I firmly believe that I should be in the room where policy happens. You know, I'm a first generation American, first generation college student, justice impacted. I've, you know, struggled with addiction. You know, I'm an older student. I'm
non-traditional.
Non-traditional all the way. And, you know, I feel that my story gives perhaps, it's not easy to be so vulnerable with my story, but I do it because I know that there might be people that watch these videos or are going through a hard time and see these kind of things and say, you know what, there is hope and there is a support system, and I am that support system, you know. Yeah. And so Bo's story is, you know, remarkable. You know, the man was, you know, near death, and he has a different outlook on life, and I have the same different outlook on life. You know, you look at things through a different perspective, and so just to continue to help. That's my future, is just continue to help others, and by helping others, I continue to maintain my health. I feel liberated by helping other individuals, no doubt.
I just can't thank you guys more enough than for being here, being our guest. Bo, shout outs. Who do you want to give some shout outs to?
Thanks to my mom. She really embedded this into me, is gratitude. For all my veterans out there, anybody in general, when you have gratitude and you're grateful for what you have, you know, we being here in the U.S. in general, there's a lot of opportunities here, and I just have to say that you just need to look back. At least once you wake up, I want you to reflect, say, okay, what have I done to accomplish to where I'm at right now, and it's gonna change your whole mood, because you can't have negativity and gratitude in the same box.
Greg,
Yeah.
shout outs, man. Who do you want to?
Well, first and foremost, family. Everybody along the way, the community college I went to, the faculty, the history department there was phenomenal. Here at UC Riverside, the history department has been so kind to me. The Veterans Resource Center, Tammy Thacker, has been tremendously grateful. But I can't sign off without extending my gratitude to the Underground Scholars Initiative, which is an organization that is in all UC campuses that supports formerly incarcerated and system-impacted students. It wasn't until I came across the Underground Scholars Initiative to where I felt safe to come out into society with my story. I had a place in the community that accepted me for who I was and understood some of the trials and tribulations that I went through. And so a big shout out to the Underground Scholars Initiative. Thank you.
I want to give a quick shout out to both of you guys for sharing your very impactful, very powerful stories of, perseverance and wanting to excel and just be better people. And so thank you guys for being here. Don't forget to visit us at VHVtv.org. There you'll find a link to all our social media sites. So once again, to both of our guests, Bo and Greg. So until next time, thank you for tuning in to Veterans Helping Veterans TV. And this is Ralph Figueroa signing off.